The anticipation is always there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm looking at the screen waiting for it to say we're live.
Then we go
know,
live.
and I almost want to be like live at 5, but then I realized it's actually 7, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the time changes.
So how would I say like heaven at 7? Like I don't even know what I would say, because live at 5 sounds so much better.
Sounds really cool.
So we'll have to think about that. We'll have to think about how to brand that. Hey, ironically,
hey,
we're talking about branding today, so
that
that's
was
perfect, right?
Brilliant.
You like how I segued that in?
Brilliant.
So what's good, man?
How's it going? Jeez
Man,
Louise.
I don't even know if I'm coming or going. The days of you and me seeing each other every day are becoming fewer and far between.
We're getting so busy.
I know, right?
We're blessed.
Big Earn, what's good, buddy?
Hey, quick shout out. Big Earn, happy belated birthday, bro.
Yeah.
I saw your birthday come up. I wanted to shoot you a message. I don't know why I didn't. And then by the time I turned around, the day was over.
Ironically, the exact same thing happened to me, and I sent Big Earn a text to remind him that I didn't forget about him on his birthday.
Yeah.
It's like you said, every time I went to send him a text, my phone would ring or some shit would happen. We didn't even get a minute in.
We're here. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Big Earn. We love you.
Love you, dude.
And we love everybody else. Look at there. Chris Disc giving you that happy birthday. There it is. Yep. And his business is
that's awesome.
birthday as well. So perfect. That's perfect. Hey, Doug, good to see you. Welcome back, man. Welcome back. Glad you could jump back in with us.
Thanks for being on, man.
And we're excited about having everybody here. Do us a real quick favor, if you would. Go ahead and share this out right now with somebody and let people know the show is on. We're talking about branding tonight, which is always an important thing when you're a business owner. Your branding needs to be on point. And sometimes it's good for us to get out of our own way, isn't it? To,
especially as creative people, very nitpicky. I find myself being always very nitpicky about branding. It's really good to maybe get some pointers and get you in the right direction for sure.
At least get somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yes.
And we can sit here and act like we know what we're talking about when it comes to
I'm
our own branding, but it's like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. How many people did you ask? Well, my mom said it was cool.
Right,
You're already on the wrong track. You're already on the wrong track if you're relying on mom. I'm sorry. We love you, mom, but you don't know shit about branding unless that's what you do for a living. And my mom doesn't. All right.
Well, I'm really excited for the conversation we're about to have because I know it's something that's on a lot of people's minds. So.
Yep, absolutely. Jared, how are you, Jared?
On,
good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Jerry, by the way, is checking in on YouTube. So if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, Wedding Business Growth on YouTube, please do that. I don't want to sound like we're begging you to do that, folks, but it really helps us spread the word of this show to more people. So we appreciate your support.
Spread the word, spread the love without getting hurt.
Let's kick it over to our co-host, Mr. Frank. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How's it going, fellas?
I can't complain. Henry says, hey, David and Nick, amazing production of your show and love the MJ poster in the background. Thanks. Hey, and Henry, thanks for checking in, man. We
really appreciate it, Henry.
Love this dude, man. I love this dude.
Thank you, man.
Frank the Dank. Oh,
there it is. Hey, let's go.
Frank the Dank. So what's good, Frank? What's up with you, man?
Man, I am chilling. I actually just shared the show on my Facebook page like everybody else should be doing right now.
There you go. Yeah. Sharing is caring.
Sharing
is caring. Yeah, man. So I've been good. Just moving forward with the house sale. What's up, Henry? How's it going? Just moving forward with the house sale and purchase and being on Clubhouse all day long when I'm not working, which I do all the time.
I hear you there.
Hey, Frank, when do you move?
April 14th.
Oh, that's exciting. It's coming up.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped. We're actually like talking to movers right now, getting everything lined up, and man, I'm hoping it all goes smooth. That's awesome. The plan.
I wish I could help you. I could drive up there, but I don't know.
Hey, you know what? I will pay for you to get up here to help.
Uh-oh.
Actually, the both of you.
I need help.
Schedule it way in advance, and we'll be happy to do that.
For sure. Seriously, for sure, though.
Yeah. No, man, we're pumped. So, other than that, just plugging away. Actually, doing some rebranding stuff in my business myself.
There you go.
So this episode couldn't have come at a better time.
Honestly,
And also, speaking of Clubhouse, you mentioned Clubhouse earlier. I know that you so kindly helped support and build up our pre-show on Clubhouse now. So those of you that have been watching the show for a while, we were doing a post-show, and we just kind of felt like a pre-show might make more sense so that we can introduce Wedding Business Growth to some of the folks that are on Clubhouse that maybe are not familiar with the Wedding Business Growth movement. And it was cool. It was the first one was today. It was really cool, and I think you got some hot shit for later on, right?
Yeah. So we spent about 45 minutes in a room with a bunch of amazing wedding professionals who hopped up on stage. We told them all about the show, and then we let those wedding professionals give us some questions that we're going to pose live on air later to our guest. And yeah, I think there's a lot of really good questions here. I'm really excited to hear his responses, and I hope that everybody tuned in on Clubhouse and is now here on the show gets to get their questions answered.
And here's a perfect example of knowing that, or just admitting the fact that you don't necessarily know everything and you're growing as you go yourself, right? So Henry says, "Hey guys, where's the super chat? Wanted to show some love and support." To be honest with you, I don't know that we even know what the hell super chat is.
So super chat is like, you can, like, I guess bigger channels or more channels, like you pay like a certain amount of money. Like some of the shows I watch, like you could super chat $50, and then as the comments are moving like so fast, like you super chat and like it goes up, and then you see it, and then they acknowledge the comment.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
But, hey Henry, we really appreciate that.
Well, that's why we need to get Henry on board to help us get this thing super chatted up. And then Big Earn says, "I learned something new today. I had no idea Nick had a last name until Frank said it on Clubhouse."
Oh, that's so funny.
There are people in the world, Madonna, Prince,
and Nick.
No last name needed, right? It's just a first name only basis.
That's hilarious.
So there you go.
That is awesome.
That's so funny,
dude. All right. I mean, having a single name like Madonna, right, or Prince, that's one thing. But to make Nick the singular name and own that. That's epic.
That's pretty quality, man. Well, you've got that going for you, dude. If nothing else, you at least have that going for you.
Nick.
You're just Nick. Nick who? Does it matter? Just Nick. Remember that, people.
Nah.
Yeah. I love it. That's funny. I see one of our other familiar faces on the show just jumped in the green room here with us. I'm going to bring him on for a second here. What's up, Luke? What's going on, man?
What's going on, David, Nick, Frank? What's happening?
What's up?
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on.
How's life in Rhode Island, man? You guys getting ready to start partying?
Yeah. We actually just opened up on Friday, so Friday's looking good, and we're moving forward, man. We're moving forward. I'm glad to hear Frank's moving up.
Yes.
Yeah. Good things are happening in the industry for sure. Great things are definitely happening.
Yeah.
Places are starting to open up. People are being able to get back to work. And so I think, between our show last week, which, by the way, if you didn't catch the show last week, definitely go back and watch that show, referencing social media and kind of cleaning up your social media and your social presence. This is a great time to be doing that. And then, of course, today's topic about branding. I mean, this is the perfect time for anybody's business. And I think if you're willing to watch the show and listen to the information provided with like a open mind and look through it through the lens of being brand new in your business, no matter where you are, whether you're on month 1 or year 50 or anywhere in between there, if you can look at it through the lens of, let's pretend like today is the first day of my business.
Yeah,
you're definitely going to garnish something from watching the show, you know what I mean? And from the information provided from our guests.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of like business in general. Like, you kind of have to always be like day one, like always think like, oh, I know nothing, and I want to continue to learn.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Luke, are you going to hang out with us for a little while?
Yeah, you got it.
Cool.
Ready to get Eric.
We'll keep you in here. Yeah, we'll keep you on here, man. All right, so I'm going to introduce our guest tonight. I'm going to read his bio real quick, and then we'll bring him on to join us. So Eric Wenning has been in the entertainment business for over 28 years. He runs a successful multi-op in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Eric also has a degree in graphic design and marketing as well. He also owns a full ad agency, Wenning Branding, which offers services such as trade show products, promotional products, website and graphic design services, video production, and specializes in social media advertising for many different types of companies. From working with numerous different types of companies, from entertainment, insurance, real estate, gyms, ISPs, and many others, his creativity and his team is what leads his clients to such success. Helping companies reach 6 figures in sales in just a little over 3 months, his skills and expertise can help any business grow their business. To those who are focused and willing. I love that, man.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
amazing.
That was a great bio.
So without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Eric Wenning. Eric, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Eric.
What's up, brother, man? How are you guys doing?
Good, bro. How are you?
So good to have you, man. This is like a reunion with me and Eric and Luke, man. We all go back so far. Yeah, we all go back so far with this.
Back in the old days with Luke. Oh my God, so many stories and not enough time to talk about it. But yeah,
no, absolutely. So let's just start off, Eric. Expand a little bit about the branding company. How did that come about? Where did that kind of kick off, and how is it really? We were talking earlier today a little bit about how that's evolved through COVID, and I think it's a good starting point. And then we're going to dive into some of the bullet point topics that we had for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I started DJing really young, around 10, 11 years old. Did my first wedding as a performer when I was 13. It was a Jamaican wedding, only white kid there. Rocked it out, had a great time, and I was hooked. And I DJ'd all through my teenage years. My dad always forced me to have a backup plan, and because he never was like, this isn't going to work out for you. You need to go get a 9-to-5 job, so have a backup plan. And I was very good in arts, and so I went to school for graphic design, advertising, and marketing. I worked for a couple ad agencies here in the Pittsburgh area, for a major realty company as well in the vicinity of Pittsburgh. And then whenever my entertainment company started to succeed my full-time income in just 1 week, it was just like, okay, I just need to quit. And so I focused all my energy on my entertainment business. That blew up. We started doing national tours for Big and Rich, Barry Manilow, Gin Blossoms, Duncan Sheik, Ingram Hill. And then whenever that was, we went all the way to 2008 and 2009 with a recession, and that basically killed the touring business for companies like us because people were just out there looking for the cheapest amounts of, the budget or a quote for sound production. And I think we missed the Justin Timberlake tour by like 10 grand at that time. Back in 2008 and 9, that was like pennies when you're talking about multi-millions of dollars of production. And so by then I sold my line array rig, focused more on corporate business. And then any millionaire that I've ever met, I've always talked, and they've always had multiple streams of revenue. And so that's when I was like, well, I have this degree in marketing and advertising. A lot of people, I do a lot of trade shows and stuff like that. I know that business very well. So I started selling trade show booths and advertising for that. Then people were like, oh, well, do you sell pens and lanyards and all these other things that goes along with trade show advertising? And I always find ways to say yes. I never say no to my customers. So I'm like, absolutely, we sell pens. How the fuck am I going to do that? And so it's just kind of like figuring out how things work. And so we started doing promotional products. And then I had degrees in graphic design and, web and everything else. So I started offering those services. So then it just turned into a full-blown advertising company. And then in the last maybe 5-6 years, social media advertising started turning into a big thing. And that's how people were really advertising their businesses. And I've always gained more knowledge. And I never say I'm an expert or anything like that or a guru. I'm never saying that because if you stop learning, then you're an idiot. So you always have to keep on growing and learning. So, but we also, just learning new avenues to generate customers, because one thing, if you know how to do, is generate leads that turn into customers for other businesses, you'll never be out of business. Every business, every entrepreneur needs customers and leads and everything else, right? So if you can find that way to turn that into revenue and income, and honestly, knock on wood, I've been blessed. We're here in a 3,000 square foot building. We're actually knocking a door down next to us. We're taking over their space as well too now, even through a pandemic. So we're very blessed, and building a new studio over there now. So it's just, we're very blessed as far as everything else going on right now. But that's kind of the branding stuff. I mean, we have full-time staff here, which is great. And we don't have to sub anything out, which is also a plus too. So we can get stuff done quickly instead of subbing it out to other countries.
But I think you bring up a great point about, you know, the need of leads and things like that. And Nick and I had lunch today with a really great dude. Actually, I think that we're probably going to bring on the show in the future. He formerly worked at the Knot and Wedding Wire.
Yep.
Excuse me. And we had a fascinating conversation with him today during lunch, and that was a big part of the topic of conversation was, you know, leads and the need for generating leads and you know, qualifying those leads and things like that. So I can understand obviously the importance and value of that.
Yeah. And also just the one point that resonated with me was when he said, what did he say? I'm blanking on what he said.
That one thing.
The one thing. What did he say?
The one thing
about figuring it out.
No.
That to me was like the number one thing in business where it's like I don't know how to do it, but I'm just gonna figure it out. Yeah. I mean, for me, like that was super like important, and I think it's just so important to have that as like a skill set as a business owner and just in general. So no, great point.
Oh shit, absolutely. Just not my drink over. Gotta love it. Yep, go ahead.
I remembered.
That's awesome. No, but just always trying to find ways to generate revenue. And because that's what really kept us afloat. I mean, our branding company grew last year. We grew 20% last year during a pandemic. That was freaking nuts. So even still with that, it was, you know, I think everyone's entertainment company took a dip. You know, we took a dip, but like you have to find other ways to keep on bringing in revenue to take care of your family and, you know, all the other bills. And we had employees, and honestly, we kept them on. We only put them down to part-time during the entire shutdown of March. For those couple weeks, then we got our PPP loan, and then we put everyone else back up to full time and kept everyone at full time. So, I mean, I have other families to feed and stuff like that as well too. So that's really important. So, what about you guys? I think their drink turned.
Yeah, no, they are definitely, I'm sure, troubleshooting the.
We're good.
We're back, and we're back.
No, it's all good.
No.
Yes.
It happens. Yeah.
No, you're saying, bud?
All right, I was just.
Go ahead, Frank. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get the conversation going. I was just going to get it started, but I didn't have the bullet points in front of me, so.
That's okay. I happen to have those. So now that my little mishap here is taken care of. By the way, it's not good to put a drink in front of your hands when you're on a live TV show and not paying attention really to what you're doing. So there's that. And we're back. So all right, so let's oh my god, let's dive right in. So Chris Yeager says, who are you talking about? Give us more context to that question, Chris, and we'll get you squared away. So let's dive into our first point, which is start brand awareness campaign now. And you know, I think before we go into that, let's really talk about let's kind of break out these myths, if you will, Eric, or misunderstandings, I should say, about the differences between marketing, advertising, and branding. I mean, I know that could be a loaded, long question answer deal, but can you give like a basic, basic overview of those three things?
As far as, so brand, marketing, and what was the other one?
Advertising.
So you want to first off make sure you start off and having a solid brand, right? You want to have a good presence, good logo, good slogan, and that's your brand, your colors, what you're all about. And then as far as the brand, the marketing aspect of it, so you have to be able to also market your business, right? I mean, this is kind of common knowledge almost, but you have to also find other ways to market, whether it's guerrilla marketing, like where you're going door to door, dropping off flyers, saying, hey, here, this is what I do, reach out to me, or I can cut grass and whatever else it is. Or you're doing, yellow book advertising, which no one does anymore, or actual TV, radio, things like that. The different streams of avenue and of advertising. And then marketing is a whole other plan of whenever you're talking about a full ad campaign. So we're working with a new company. I can't talk fully about it yet because we're signing contracts actually today. So we're doing an entire, marketing campaign for them, an advertising campaign, which dives into, okay, well, we're going to need press releases sent out. Then we're going to also need to have a new slogan because we're buying out other companies. So we have to make sure that it looks seamless, like that brand of, brand A is going to be buying out brand C, D, and E. So if brand A is not that strong showing and doesn't have a good presence, whenever they buy out all these other companies, it's going to be kind of meaningless. And whenever the other companies get kind of bought out and their existing customers go to brand A's customers, if you're following what I'm saying, they are going to feel warm and fuzzy. But if that brand isn't as solid and, like, oh my God, well, just this little coffee shop bought out by Starbucks. Well, Starbucks is a brand name. They're well known. They're established. So, of course, those people are like, oh, okay, well, I feel bad for the mom and pop shop, but hey, it's Starbucks. At least we know the quality is going to be good going in here. So that's kind of like the whole levels. So whenever you're doing advertising and marketing is kind of like the same thing, right? But the whole thing is there's different plans and stages that goes along with that. So, okay, we're going to do press releases to the media. Then we're going to have possibly even TV commercials, then even radio commercials, because some of the different areas where they need to advertise is in rural America. So they're not always having social media or whatever else readily at their fingertips. So it's a trickier advertising media of what we have to do for this one company that we're working with now. So there's just other different ways, just putting a plan of attack. Does that kind of make sense a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. I just always like trying to set the context, because I think sometimes people get kind of feel like those two are the same, but in all reality, they serve different purposes. They seem the same and they feel the same, but a lot of times they serve different purposes. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So Chris said the Knot and Wedding Wire lead. Okay, so that was Tom. I'm going to butcher his last name. Is it Chalednik?
I think that sounds
Chalednik.
right.
Yeah, it's Tom. And then Chris just said, didn't know you were so corporate. I don't even know what that means, but you'll have to expand on that, Chris, because I'm not keeping up with all this today. All right, so let's dive into it. Brand awareness campaign right now. Why do we need to do it?
Does everyone know who you are?
Probably not.
There you go. So the whole thing, I mean, does everyone know so if I say Nick, because Nick is just now a name with Madonna and Prince, and I say Nick, I was like, do you know Nick? They're like, you mean Nick who fixes my truck and has his ass hanging out in his jeans all the time? Or are you talking about Nick on the Wedding Business Growth show? That Nick? What are you talking about? So
right.
Brand is very important, and you can do this cost effectively. I know everyone is hurting financial that's in the wedding business right now, right? So you're like, oh my God, who the hell is this toolbox going to tell me to spend more money? You can actually advertise for pennies on a dollar. And people don't understand this, even with YouTube and Facebook. So there's a thing on Facebook doing brand awareness campaigns, right? So whenever you're in the back end of Facebook, I'm not going to dive all into the actual technical aspects, but whenever you select on a campaign, in your ads manager, you select on video, right? And then you can actually select on video views. So the thing is, Facebook started this. It's called in-stream ads. So whenever you watch YouTube and you see skip ad, right? We all see that, right? So then you can skip the ad. You've watched 5 seconds of the advertisement and that's it. Do you know if you watch 30 seconds of that ad on YouTube, then the advertiser pays money? But that advertiser is paying money for free until you watch a full 30 seconds of that. So Facebook was being like, well, you know what? We're not that generous. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to cut it in half and we're going to do 15 seconds. So you can do the same exact targeting on Facebook and run ads, and you can show someone the meat and potatoes of your offer, your deal, your brand for 14 seconds for free. As soon as they watch
later, Henry. Sorry.
seconds of it, and then bing, bang, boom, next thing you know, you're going to get charged. But you were talking pennies on a dollar, not a full like a lead where it's going to cost you, $5, $10, $20 a click. So you start doing that, and the people that are watching your stuff more, you retarget them and then run ads directly to those people. So then it's all about retargeting as well. So you can run simple brand awareness campaigns right now for pennies on the dollar. And then you can go back in there and retarget the people that have watched 45 seconds or a minute of your ad or whatever else it is. So for YouTube, if you have a 30-second ad and people watched 95% of it or 100% of it, you can go back in there and retarget those people and show them a new ad, a new offer, and say, hey, for a limited time, get 50% off here today. Or on YouTube, if you have a minute ad or a 45-second ad and they watch 35 seconds or they watch 45 seconds of it, you can go back in there and retarget them to show them something else that entices them. That's how it works.
Go ahead. So for the simpletons like me out there, can you explain what retargeting is? I'm actually totally lost.
Yeah. So if you've ever, scoped around on Amazon and you saw this basketball. Oh, like, wow, that's a cool basketball. I really like that color of that basketball. You put it in your shopping cart. You're like, you know what? Do I have enough money in it? Or maybe not right now. Let me get off the shitter and then maybe I'll buy it when I'm on the couch, right? So you go back in and you close out your social media. 30 minutes later, next thing you know, like you start seeing ads for that basketball. That's retargeting. So there's little code. It's called Facebook pixels that you put on each individual item or your website page. So as soon as you land onto that page, it's starting to track you. Yes.
Gotcha.
Big Brother's tracking. Yeah, that's what.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, it makes so much sense. Yeah. No, thanks for clarifying.
So dive a little bit more into what actually goes into a brand awareness campaign versus any other campaign.
So more or less, so what you have to do is starting out with a brand awareness campaign is educate the prospect on what you are, what you do, and who you are quickly. Because now we're in the era of TikTok, Reels, where you literally have 1 second to grab someone's attention, right? Everyone has ADD nowadays. So you have 1 second to grab someone's attention to watch the next 2 to 5 seconds, then to hold their attention to watch the next 5 to 10 seconds. So your information should have bullet points of who you are, what it is that you're kind of like really advertising and making sure that it's very interesting for them and always be moving. So if you just start like with a talking head, like, hey, we got DJ services and we got photography services, we got other things for you, there people are already uninterested. I mean, the kind of trick that we always start with is we always say, like, start with a prop, right? And so I have a thing here for you. Do you want to see what's inside? Of course you do. And then what am I doing? I'm holding your attention, right? And then because you want to see what's inside the box. So whenever you're starting with any kind of brand awareness, if you're going to do that to educate them, because you can do different levels of brand awareness. You could have one that's just all graphic based, showing interactive, or maybe your beautiful photography or your videography or the DJ's pumping up the dance floor, the catering, how beautiful the food looks, right? And then therefore you have another brand awareness campaign that's just you talking to them and using a prop to get them engaged to watch the next 5 to 10 seconds. To watch the next 5 to 10 seconds, etc. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Chris says, open the damn box already. So see, it already worked. It already worked. I love it. I love it.
Eric, what's the GSD stand for?
Get shit done.
Okay.
It's for a company that I work with. So we do all their marketing advertising. It's a company called Loud Rumor. They specialize in advertising, social media, education for gym, fitness studios, and everything else. And they have over 2,000 members. We handle all of their boxes they send out on a monthly basis and other boxes as well, too, that I'll maybe talk about a little bit later that wedding professionals definitely need to utilize that they are doing that we utilize as well too. And it's just so simple. It's just, you didn't even realize oh, I could have done this and I could have got this result. Yeah. It's a little nuts, but I won't talk about it right now.
And just one additional point.
I love the hook.
Yeah. One point I definitely wanted to add to that was, man, if I can remember,
you might need to have a Dr. Pepper.
I might.
I noticed you haven't had one yet.
That might
be what it is.
Just don't spill it.
It is so hard to get people's attention.
This is me being corporate, by the way.
It's very corporate. Dr. Pepper needs to sponsor us. It's so hard to get people's attention and keep people's attention.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I feel like people are watching like my ads and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of the times it's just another videographer, another highlight reel, just keep on swiping. Like, I don't want to see this. So I really like the point that Eric made, is like create some sort of, enticement or enticing, thing to get them engaged for sure. And I could definitely, you have to, because everyone does have ADHD nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be careful. Be careful.
The one issue I always see, like this with a lot of sometimes video companies and DJs, they start out the entire thing with this crazy logo animation. Like, that even freaking matters. No one gives a shit who you are yet.
Yeah.
You know about the content, and these guys do this all the time. Look at my cool animation. Oh my God, it's so cool. I got it from Fiverr. Yeah, $5. Like, no one gives a shit. Like, seriously, get to the meat and potatoes of why you are who you are and what you do, and then let's talk about it from there. So people do it in the wrong order and they do it backwards, and bumpers call it a bumper for a reason. It's at the back end, right? So
right,
sure, yeah. And I mean, it's kind of like, you remove the ego about it and realize it's not about you, it's about the customer. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so that makes a lot of sense. Well, speaking of all the boxes you got hanging around there, that kind of takes us to our second talking point, which is think inside the box. And me and Frank were teasing this earlier in Clubhouse today, and a few people were like, "What does that mean?" And we're like, "To be honest with you, we don't even know what it means. We're just as excited as you are. So jump on the show to learn more about thinking inside the box." So what say ye, Mr. Wenning?
That'll be for the next episode. No, so what we do for companies like this, and we do this for about 12 other companies besides just Loud Rumor of itself, we do a lot of box and fulfillment in-house. So that's why we needed a lot more space for warehouse, etc. So what they do is whenever you're a member of their organization, you get 3 boxes, right? So the first month you get a box that has tons of trinkets in it, where you will start out getting maybe a notepad and a pen for information from them. You'll also get some pre-sale secrets of their book. That's Mike RC and our Matt, big, huge guys in the fitness industry. He owns multiple Orange Theory gyms. And so you're actually giving away actual legit books from, even magnets as well too. Because one thing, whenever you're thinking about giving away boxes, and people are probably in the wedding business, like, why do I want to give things out to my clients and prospects? You want to give out trinkets and items that are going to sit around on the person's desk, right? And it's going to stick around. One thing that's always on my desk is actually a beach chair. And who doesn't always want to be talking about the beach? Because what do you do on the beach chair? You just throw your phone in it, right? And I know my camera's there. Okay. And there's my little dog. So, hi, dog.
Not so little anymore.
120-pound Doberman. Yeah, he's not little anymore. But you can always get something and give something. So things are sitting on people's desks, so they always see your actual name and brand all the time. Along with, of course, they have books, and then, of course, T-shirts as well, too. And you may ask, what does 2590 mean? It means they do a campaign where they get 25 new customers in 90 days for the gym, and they show you how to do that, right? So that's think about inside the box. Whenever everyone loves to get stuff, right? Because whenever everyone was quarantined, you get some cool mugs too, something that's always going to sit on your desk as well. But whenever you are in quarantine, you lived on Amazon and getting stuff delivered to you, right? So everyone loved the Christmas aspect of it, always getting boxes, right? So whenever you're getting a cool branded box like this, and it's all full color where you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it, giving a welcome box, as I call it, for the people in our industry. As soon as they come on board and they sign a contract with you, you send them a welcome box. How powerful would that be, as whether it be T-shirts and pens and notepads, and or a simple booklet that you can get made at any printer really, and then having tips on planning to help that person with it. Because let's face it, most of this stuff that's out there, I'm just going to say, like, it's written by interns and not industry professionals most of the time, right?
Yeah, fair point.
It's not actually written by real people that live this day to day, especially like all the people from Wedding Wire and The Knot, all full of shit because they're just interns. But we won't get into that.
There goes our sponsorship of Wedding Wire and The Knot, but that's okay. We can edit that part out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But anyway, so the biggest thing that they do for their members when they go through the entire program, they always, let me ask you guys a question first. How much is a good quality review worth to you?
Thousands.
It's priceless.
Priceless.
Absolutely.
Frank, great answer.
Yeah.
But not just
Priceless.
a written testimonial or not just a 5-star review on Google, an actual video review of the clients, not half drunk or drunk at the end of the show, like sitting at home, like sober, still talking great things about your company. How much?
Yeah, let's hit the audience up too, and just in the comments, just drop in the from the audience, drop in the comments like what is your amount on that? Like what are your thoughts on what Eric is saying? Like the value of a good quality video review. Just curious what folks in the audience watching might say. We have a priceless again from Chris Disk. And sometimes it's delayed on Facebook, so it might take a second for those to come through. We'll throw some more up if they do, but go ahead, Eric.
So, I mean, the main thing is people would spend a lot of money to have that kind of a quality review. So what this company has done and took in precedent, they send a box to the actual customer after they have completed the course and they went through everything with them, right?
Absolutely, Chris. Yep.
They send over a brand new tripod. They send over a ring light. They send over a microphone, microphone connectors for your phone. Of course, a branding sticker just because you want to throw it on your bumper sticker, and all the different attachments. Oh, Larry, all the different attachments for the ring light for your cell phone. And then inside the box, they put a nice postcard explaining what to do with it, right? They're giving this stuff free to the actual client and just asking them to give a video testimonial of the experience they had, upload it, and then tag them in it. And then bing, bang, boom, you have a professional looking, well-lit testimonial. How simple is that? And you can do this entire thing for probably like anywhere from, I don't know, $50 to $80 shipped, something like that with everything else that's in here, even less than that if you want to be even cheaper. But I mean, $80 or whatever else for a good quality review, you build it into the cost of your events. And then that one review is going to bring in how much more business? Think about it. Yep. Even if they bring in 1 or 2 more gigs, it's already covered. It's paid for itself tenfold, How simple is that?
It's so simple. And I think video reviews, like video in today's world, I think video goes so much farther than the written word. I know that I engage with video way more, video reviews and otherwise than I do with, written reviews. Even on Amazon, like I'll go watch like reviews of the product instead of just reading what other people have to say. So agreed. Yeah, for sure.
No, absolutely.
And the cost too. I mean, it really isn't that expensive.
Well, and it goes back. I mean, we were saying this, off the air before we started. It goes back to even like when we were talking about one of our other sponsors, RequestNow, and the value far outweighs the cost, and the cost is something that you're worried about, digging into your bottom line. I respect that.
Yeah.
But just chart. I'm not saying. Like, for example, Eric said, he gave a roundabout figure, $50 to $80. Let's go on the high end and say $80. I'm not saying upcharge your pricing by $200 or $300. I'm just saying, even if you just upcharge it by enough money to cover this particular thing, then you're still putting yourself in a position where you can cover the cost of this. And we also know and understand if you send 10 of these out, maybe you only get 6 or 7 reviews from that. And so you feel like, oh, well, I wasted my money, but absolutely not. Because remember, it only takes one of them to create the ability to, book 2 or 3 more events. So it's just looking at what's that?
It's a write-off anyway. So what the hell?
That too. So it's just looking at it from a different lens.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, if someone got a gift like that, you almost feel guilty that you don't put a review. I think
that's a fair point. Absolutely fair point.
So how much do those like the box behind you with the trinkets what does a box like that run on average depending on what you're putting in it?
So we do this for other gyms as well. And we have designed other boxes that can range anywhere from $20 a box to like $50 a box to whatever else. It all depends on what you want to put inside the box. So that's all that matters. So what people don't realize and calculate is the shipping costs. That's the main thing is, shipping a box that size, it's like 1074. And then it's roughly around £1, sometimes less than that for maybe the box one. So that can go first class. So as soon as it goes over £1, then it goes priority mail. So it's a little bit more expensive. So a box like that shipped, and I'm in, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If I have to ship it to California, it might cost me $12, right? Something around there. So it's still not, detriment. But if I'm shipping in like zone 1 or 2 or even zone 3 in the United States for USPS, it still is like around $10, give or take. But I mean, that's still a reasonable cost for a welcome box to give someone as a gift to make them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Ooh.
So have you ever had more for wedding professionals, right? Clearly, have you ever had wedding professional get you to create a box that would then be put on the present table at a reception? Like leave it there. So then when they're back at their house and they're opening all their gifts, boom, here's this gift from the wedding professional.
Say that one more time. So you threw me off. So you're saying that has any wedding professional given this box? Say one more time.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, given it. I mean, I'm just thinking of a creative way of handing it, right? That where maybe somebody who says, "Oh my gosh, if I'm going to have to invest $10 extra to ship 100 of these boxes to my 100 clients, maybe it makes more sense for me to drop it off at the gift table at the reception."
No, it loses the entire purpose, especially whenever you're dealing with gift tables. As soon as they become a client, you send it out the next day. Period.
Okay.
No, it's building that relationship experience. This isn't after the whole fact and then adding a custom box and putting on their gift table. That's like a dick move. That's tacky in my opinion. So the thing is, you want to build that trust and that experience right from the get-go with that client. So as soon as they sign the contract, boom, you send out the box the next day or the same day. And then next thing you know, they get it in a couple of days. And it's like a nice little welcome presentation, like, hey, welcome to the family, everything else. And whenever I bought my nicer car, I start getting stuff from Rover and everything else of that too. You get nicer things. And so if you're trying to be more the elite in your, demographic of whatever you do, think like higher up, think about the higher end level of things and take your brand to the next level. Does that make sense?
So what about pre-client boxes? You know what I mean? Before they sign a contract, what about that?
Do it before. I mean, absolutely. Do it before their gig though. So don't do it at the gig.
No. I was saying more like before they sign the contract, before they even commit to your company.
Hell no. No, you're not going to spend all the money on a customer that's not going to willing to even come on board with you guys as far as that goes. You want to send them some brochure for them to wipe their ass with? Yeah, go ahead, whatever else. But like, you want to build that experience when you're going to invest in me, I'm going to invest in you. That's the whole thing, because I'm not going to keep on playing with tire kickers and everything else. If you're going to come on board with us, then I'll kiss your ass. Then you'll get all the swag pieces and stuff like that too. Go to a nice BMW Range Rover car dealership. You think they're giving you all this free swag whenever you go in there? Like, I want to buy this car, but I can't afford it. Like, they're like, screw off. Like, no. Think about it.
Too funny.
So, follow-up question to Frank's. maybe some ideas in terms of these boxes? You know, what would a wedding professional be? I mean, aside from, you know, obviously the reviews, you know, you could put in a ring light, microphone, that kind of stuff. Are there anything else maybe prior to the wedding that you could throw in that you would recommend as a, you know, some idea starters?
I wouldn't do prior to the wedding for this though. This is like after they get back from the honeymoon, they're relaxed, they went all through their presents and everything else like that too. Then you send them a box, and it might be a month later.
Okay,
so
sure.
you add some stuff in here as well too, maybe some T-shirts or, you know, some nice tumblers, something that they're always going to use. And you know, we do actually, they're actual coasters, but there's a bottle opener built into the actual coasters. Those are hugely popular because it's always around your game room or living room or whatever else, and it's always in your face. So little trinket ideas like that too. I mean, hell, this is silly. I always have this on my desk. So this is a charging pad we did for PA Sports. It's wood, it's engraved, it's always sitting on my desk, and I charge my phone on it. So things like this add so much more value to everything rather than just kind of like throwing this stuff in the box. We throw in some gifts as well too that I won't go through what they give away, but I mean, yeah, it just all depends.
Gotcha.
So we're basically looking at like a welcome to the fill in the blank event company family box, and then like this other box is an idea from the standpoint of referrals and reviews and things like that. So yeah, no, that's absolutely cool. And like I said, you know, you figure out a way to make it as cost effective as possible and still be creative and fun. Yeah. And then you figure out, how can I add that to the bottom line? And by the way, you don't necessarily have to say, okay, if these two boxes in total are going to cost me $100, it doesn't even necessarily mean you have to add $100 to every single event you do, because let's be honest, if you're doing maybe an event that's not one of the, you know, higher on the scale of your price points, you don't necessarily have to, you know, provide that same level of luxury service, if you will, or you know, higher end service necessarily.
Well, I mean, the one thing I'll just kind of say is, you know, for the people that spend a lot of money, because we have multiple services from photography, videography, lighting, decor, and some people might spend 10 grand with us, right? So for those kind of customers and other higher end customers, they might get a small bottle of champagne with some custom engraved wine glasses with their names on it. You think they're ever going to forget that? No. Mm-hmm. So there's little things that you can do that's, you know, there's so many little things that you can actually do to make your brand stand out that much better than the next competition. It's just little goes a long way than people are just too lazy to do.
Most definitely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely. So when do we know if it's time to rebrand our company?
7 to 10 years. If you've been using the same logo, you know, we're in the process of doing that possibly for the entertainment company. I mean, you look at companies from Rite Aid, GoDaddy, Heinz, Adobe, the list goes on and on. So they haven't completely, I mean, even YouTube has rebranded their logo. You might not have noticed, but they have. So it's just little nuances, font changes, just doing little nuances, same color scheme. But Rite Aid, they went completely, they added like a lime green in with their colors as well too. Rite Aid was just a dark blue and a lighter blue for Rite Aid. And now they have a lime green in there too, to be more eco-friendly, earth-friendly, stuff like that as well too. That's what those colors mean. So it's just, little nuances goes a long way, because I think branding now is more important than ever, because so many people are going out of business. All these brides are scared. They're like, okay, well, is my vendor even still going to be in business after this? And what's more powerful than if they, you know, start to see your company refreshed, has a new face on it, everything else going into 2021 or 2022, and, you know, knew everything else, like, okay, wow, they're still in business. Okay, great. There's new stuff here. There's new stuff here. Making sure that you're still in business and you're still alive. I mean,
I just dropped that link that you sent me earlier in the week. I just dropped that link in the chat for everybody about logo redesigns that happened during 2020. So right along the lines of what you're talking about, some pretty interesting stuff that maybe we weren't aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a question.
right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Luke.
I got a question. You obviously were talking about branding, and with things getting back and trade shows and bridal shows happening. I think last year seemed like the biggest thing, the tchotchke item was the sanitizers, with your branding on it, because everyone wanted that. What do you think is going to be the thing that would be something that will be good brand awareness to have? I mean, obviously, I'm just curious what your take on that would be.
Yeah, I mean, the sanitizer is always clutch. They make actually hand sanitizer pens and credit cards. So they're the size of a credit card, where it's a sanitizer just fits right in your pocket. For people that are always worried about germs and everything else, there's a simple pen, maybe about that big. It's literally the size of a Sharpie, and you can put it anywhere else. And you can always put that in, your luggage, your purse, things like that as well while you're traveling. I definitely think that's still going to be around for a year or so until all this kind of dissipates. I mean, germaphobes are never going to dissipate, those type of people, but for the people that, still have a awareness of it, but they don't, care about it too much. But it also depends on the company. I mean, if the company owner is a complete germaphobe, they're going to do those practices for people. If you have another person that's on a different side of things, they might just stick to a tumbler, or they might just stick to some other cool items that will, keep their name in their forefront, even with, things like go on the back of your phone as well too, where it's simple. It's not like a pop socket, but it's elastic, so I can carry multiple items and just put it on my hand as well too. And it can be completely branded with your name on it, upside down. There we go. And do different things like that. So little things like that doesn't cost a ton of money. That would probably be ideal depending on what your use for it is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Love that. So we mentioned earlier about being on our first official Clubhouse pre-show today. Frank and I were on that, and just want to remind everybody that does watch the show who are participants on Clubhouse. We are now doing a pre-show versus a post-show. We were doing a post-show for a while, and we kind of decided to move that to a pre-show to kind of, number one, help maybe some of the folks on Clubhouse become more aware of the show, but also to be able to create a new segment that we are introducing to the show tonight that we have loosely called Frank's Clubhouse Corner.
Yes, I love it.
And we may keep that as the name of the segment, or who knows, we may change it. I don't know. But for now, it is Frank's Clubhouse Corner. And Frank collected some questions for you, Eric, from some of our folks on Clubhouse.
Sure.
And the way this is basically going to work is the pre-show, we're going to take the questions. During the show, we're going to ask the questions of our expert guest that's on the show with us. And then next week, we will go back and kind of report those answers to our Clubhouse friends. And then we will also take questions for next week's show. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to our illustrious co-host, Mr. Frank, for Frank's Clubhouse Corner.
It feels like Mr. Rogers all of a sudden.
Where's that sweater?
Yeah, I know.
He was still in town, buddy. So what the heck?
I know. I need the animation to fly in. Right. Okay. So, all right.
We're still working on that, man. We don't have the budget.
Yeah. All right. Let's start up at the top. So, Cameron Reeve, who is a DJ from Utah, asked. He's at a crossroads right now with rebranding. So his question is how should he determine how much he delegates out with the rebranding process to like a company like yourself versus how much of that should he take on by himself?
Think of it like you're a NASCAR driver, right? There's multiple aspects whenever you're driving a car. So whenever you're in the car, you should be worried about the speed, the gas, the brake, and the turn, right? You should be focused on the main forward aspects of your business. Not, is your tire pressure okay? Is my car going to overheat? Is my spoiler uneven? All the other different things that are spidered around your business. You should be focusing on mainly sales and leave it to the rest of the professionals, because all these wedding professionals I've heard are bunch of hypocrites mostly of the time, because they're like, oh, well, I don't want the bride to pick my cheapest package, or like, I want a videographer for $500. And we're like, oh, what do you mean a videographer for $500? You have to spend at least $2,000, right? Same kind of concept, right? So if you want it done correctly in the right way, why wouldn't you hire a professional to get it done the right way first time, rather than going to Fiverr, Freelancer, and gamble on whoever else is going to do it the wrong way multiple times? And or you might hit the jackpot and luck out and get someone that actually did a really good job. That's not the case all the time. Sometimes you need to focus and run it like a real business and spend the money, invest in things properly. If you have a real business plan, you started out correctly, that should be part of your actual expenditures as far as what you're going to spend out. So that's what I would always make sure that you give it out to the professionals. If you preach the same thing, you should do the same thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. And right, we talk about that all the time, especially in the wedding industry, where everybody has a relative that can do something that a wedding professional does. Oh, my Uncle Johnny has a sound system. He can DJ. Oh, my Aunt Susan can coordinate. She did the family reunion last year. Right. And it's the same.
Amazing guy. He's great.
Yeah. Right. It's the same thing that we say. So I love that aspect of it. Why pitch it as a business? Why pitch it for your own business if you're not going to own that same thing? So yeah. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So the next question came from Renee Roberts, and she's with Team Wedding Marketing. So this is going to be a little different of a question because she is also equally a professional when it comes to the marketing aspect of the wedding industry as well. So she asked, there's a difference between a brand refresh and a rebranding. So how do you, as a branding company, decide which one is more appropriate for your client?
So a branding refresh and a branding, what would you say?
A branding refresh, like a brand refresh versus a rebranding.
It all depends on where you are in your business growth and how many years you're into it. And if you just started 2-3 years ago, you don't need to completely rebrand your entire identity. You can maybe give a little refresh, new images, a new layout of your website. Your marketing materials can get new implementation for graphic design services, right? And you can think a little bit differently on how you're going to treat in new prospects, how you're going to manage leads when they come in. Is it through an automated process? Do they schedule time to talk to you? So it's kind of a rethinking, not like a rebranding, as far as making sure that you don't need to redo your entire logo and everything else. It's just how you're actually managing your business. And, this kind of goes in hand where I've actually called a lot of DJs lately just because they've been part of my wedding method and everything else with what we do. I swear to God, 99% of them never answer their phone. How about you take into branding consideration, answer your phone, have your voicemail that's not full, have a professional voicemail message. Think about the other things that your prospect is looking at your brand as, and maybe take that into consideration as well.
Man, I really like that response, because it's a lot, right? Different people at different points. So I know you said if you recently rebranded a few years ago, is there also a growth aspect? So let's say even if you rebranded a year ago, but for some reason over the last year, things really took off and there was a lot of different directions. Could there also be a growth factor as well as just not necessarily even just a time factor that kind of plays into that decision as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Always not like bragging or boasting, but doing it tastefully and and without being tacky about it. Does that make sense? There's a way to still show growth. I mean, we are taking over another 3,000 square feet next door, which is going to add on to our monthly bill, utilities, everything else. That I'm scared because of what everyone else is doing. But I know that if I dive into the deep end, the same analogy that Dave and Mark Burgess and we always talked about in the past of like, whenever you come on board and doing this full time, when you're a hobbyist and you put all your feet in the water. So whenever you jump into the deep end with the cold water, you want to get out right away. But as long as you stay in there and you simmer around and you warm up, you start to get used to it. Right. So the same analogy kind of applies there.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I like that. So little bit of growth, a little bit of time since the last rebrand kind of needs to factor in.
Yep.
All right. Next up, Jared Belprez. He is a wedding DJ. He asked when you start to offer a new service, and that service comes along with you getting some kind of new equipment or new item that you actually need to purchase, how do you brand that to be able to cover your expense of that new item?
So, for example, if you are getting a new service, say like not naming brands, or a new like a ring roamer, or a new a photo booth, or sparklers added to your event, you can easily find footage of that added into a corporate video and say, hey, we're going to sell this. Because most of the time when our business and wedding business, you're not doing the event next week, you're doing the event a year from now, 2 years from now. You have time to sell it and then pay it off by the time the event actually even comes there. So absolutely, you can already advertise that you have those services. And then for people like, well, what if the event's next month and you don't have the services yet? Then you say it's booked. Sorry, we don't have it yet. It's not available for your dates. So it's just all how you're you slick with your wording, so to say. That's all.
Gotcha. So, all right, next up, Big Earn Productions asked a question that actually is really interesting, that is really important to me too, is so website branding. Is it better to have all your services on one website, or is it better to separate some of your services out if it's applicable and have multiple websites?
You don't want to get to the point where it's too confusing. If you have multiple services like we do, entertainment, photography, videography, everything else, right? You never know with proper SEO implementation and then other services, whenever someone comes to your website and saw that I offer magicians and saw that I offer, special decor like drapery and stuff like that. Like, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did that. But if you have separate websites like, Pittsburgh, DJs, and then Pittsburgh wedding decor, and then Pittsburgh photo booth. I mean, you're having all these websites consolidate everything else. You have multiple services. There's nothing that kind of has the strength and the balls, so to say, of having a company that has multiple different services that can take care of your event, just like a full ad agency that can handle all the aspects from graphic design, web design, branding, promotional products, trade show, etc., rather than just being a web designer and that's it. So you're limiting a lot of business and prospects that way as well too.
So at that point, sorry, go ahead, David.
I was just going to kind of expand on that question as well, and it might be the same thing you're about to ask, Frank, because I think you and I are on the same wavelength here. Two-part question. First of all, Eric, you're kind of talking along the lines of services that work in conjunction with each other. Let's hypothetically say that it was services that didn't really have anything to do with each other whatsoever. Or second part of the question is, what if you're looking to create a brand identity of yourself as an individual outside of like the company itself?
I gotcha. So almost kind of like what we have as far as so I have Wenning Innovations, I have Wenning Branding, Wenning Entertainment, Wenning Methods, stuff like that too. Yeah, I like my last name, but it's just easier that way so no one else can take it, right? So the thing is, whenever you're having that, if you have just Eric Wenning or David Hanscom, then you're a keynote speaker, then you own this company, you own that company, you own this company, and shows your diversity, because any millionaire that I've ever met, I will repeat, owns multiple different businesses, multiple different types of revenue and stream, right? So the thing with having that is just going to add to the assets of your brand rather than anything else. So if you're going to have multiple different businesses and you're just trying to make yourself a brand, and then you're incorporated with all these other different companies, of course it's great to have maybe one website where it's just David Hanscom Enterprises, and then all these other different companies that you own or that you're a part of, and shows the fact that your growth, and you have balls to say exactly who you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. No. And I got two follow-ups. One is very specific to that. So how important is it when you start to diversify the businesses that you own, right? And you have different direct, like you, right? You said you have a marketing agent or a branding agency. You've got your event production. You've got other things that you mentioned, the Wenning Method. How important is it to build that personal brand to validate those other like those sub businesses, those other businesses?
It all depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to be a speaker, if you're trying to be an influencer, if you're trying to do other things just with yourself, I think it's important to do that. But if you're not, and you're just like, hey, listen, I have multiple businesses. I'm a millionaire. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to have a website to show all the businesses that I own. Other buddies own bars, restaurants, 8 pizza shops. He owns a spa, all these other different things. He doesn't have a website promoting that. But he's also not trying to go out there and publicly speak on anything else and speak on his brand and everything else. So it really depends on what you are trying to do for yourself and advertise you yourself. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And then my last follow-up, and this is a little bit more to what Ern was referring to. Is there a point when you start to diversify the services that you offer enough that it's key to start to think about maybe like a rebrand, because maybe your previous business name was very targeted, so-and-so wedding DJ services, right? And then you now you start offering other things, and maybe you want to open it up to I don't know, like private events or other things that aren't just weddings, right? Is that a time where you need to start thinking about rebranding?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started this as Eric's DJ service. I have my same business card in my assistant's office next door. So it started out as Eric's DJ service, then Wenning's DJ service, then Wenning Entertainment. So then I grew up and started blanketing as I added more services. I just used a generalized, instead of Wenning Production, Wenning Entertainment, it just kind of flowed off the tip of my tongue because my initials are EW, and I said we, and we like to have a we time, whatever else, just like we make shitfun.com.
All right, I got a few more questions for you. Okay,
wait 1 second, Frank. What was that URL again?
It's called wemakeshitfun.com, and this is from David Hanscom. These are stress balls that we did for Hanscom, and it sits on my desk every single day because it's fun to squeeze, and everyone loves a good poop joke.
We'll have to check that URL out later.
Yeah, wemakeshitfun.com. It's especially if you're anywhere looking for a DJ, it's a great URL to check out.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next 2 questions come from Henry Chen, who was in here earlier. He is a wedding photographer, a photography educator, and has his own chat marketing company that he runs. So his first question is, what would be some tips that you could share, maybe 1 or 2 tips that you could share about how to help nurture a personal brand versus a business brand?
How to nurture a personal brand and a business brand. That's kind of a trick. It's pretty vague. So as far as does he mean nurturing it as
So I think what he's talking about is, I think he is trying to build a personal brand, right? To kind of be able to be an educator in the space that he is within. So which 2 are photography and then his chat marketing company. But then he also doesn't want to lose sight of branding those businesses as well. Yeah. So I guess he's kind of asking how do I nurture both sides, kind of keeping it all flowing in the same direction though?
I mean, honestly, I'm only as strong as the staff that I employ, that works with me, and because I have a good staff, and then maybe he has a staff or other people that works with him to handle those different levels of brand as well too. So as one person, you can only handle so much. Let's just be honest, right? We have lives. We live a busy life as far as that goes. But having a nurture process in place from, email campaigns, text message campaigns that you can easily send out blast, and making sure that you're communicating properly with your members, and, giving out new content. So it really just comes down to the fact of making sure that you're busy enough to do those aspects, and also delegate it out enough to, if you're too busy to handle your personal brand and your other business brand, you have to make time for both. And sometimes you could do that smartly, very smart, doing it smartly using Creator Studio within Facebook, and doing things in advance for the entire month, and then publishing it, and it's already doing the work for you. So there's ways to kind of work smarter, not harder. Hopefully that makes sense.
So yeah, so utilize some tools that'll help make that a little bit easier for you. So that way you don't lose sight of any like one thing, especially when you're kind of juggling all those balls to begin with.
Yeah, especially when you're, one person starting out. If you don't have a team, it gets pretty tricky to do that. And that's one thing, finding automation software, things like that to make your life easier is key to any business success.
Yeah. And as somebody that owns a chat marketing company, I'm pretty sure he's...
Yeah, you can easily set up some bots to throw some automation process in there as well, too. That's pretty easy.
Yep. His second question was, and this is a little bit more like open to the wedding and events industry. What branding suggestions can you give to companies right now as the wedding and event industry starts to open back up? Like, are there certain things that they should be doing specific around the fact that things are opening back up, within their branding?
Depends if you're talking new customer or existing customer. If we're talking new customer, then I'm going to point back to this lovely box behind me and talk about a welcome box, doing things like that to keep you at the forefront of people's minds and showing that, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere else. If you're talking existing customers that their event has been postponed 12 times or whatever else, still reaching out with a personal phone call, personal, a text message, whatever else, reaching out to them, just saying, hey, listen, we're here. We're not going anywhere. How are you guys doing? Just having a personal conversation with them and just being a human being. So not just sending out a simple automated email system or a text message blast, actually being a human being, getting on the phone, using a telephone and talking to the person, and then just, building that trust back and forth again. And then just seeing like, how have you been, just being real. That's it.
Gotcha. Last question, and this is for Chris Yeager, who was tuning in earlier. And he is Chris is actually a marketing and internet. He's been in marketing and internet support for about 20 years within the wedding industry, very specifically. And he asked, what are the top 2 or 3 mistakes that people are making with their branding, and what could they do to address those things quickly?
Top things they're screwing up with, huh? So one thing is, I've seen this a lot from entertainment side, DJs, photographies. Their brand. Whenever I started out very beforehand with Nick, your brand has to start out strong, right? Good name, doesn't have to be slang in there. It doesn't have to look like it was drawn by a kindergarten with a crayon. Has to have a good presence, right? So that's definitely one thing that people always start with a mistake. Having a good name as well too. Just because you want to start adding Z's in your name does not make you cute. We won't talk about that. But I'm just saying though, making that what corporate brands do that, making sure that your branding doesn't have a Gmail address, for Pete's sake. I mean, it's 2021. Are you still using an AOL, Hotmail address, whatever else? It should be, Eric at Wenning ENT. It should be your name and your brand. Your website should, they make things simple, even if you don't have a lot of money, from Wix websites and simple WordPress sites. The whole thing is, I've always said this, like, you had a year to sit on your ass and you're doing nothing, right? How many people actually taught themselves other skills? I taught myself CSS. I taught myself, coding. So like, what did you teach yourself besides bitching and complaining on Facebook groups and everything else? What else did you learn as that can help your business grow? And from whatever you learned and you grew in that entire year's time frame of the shutdown, you should be implementing that into your business, which we're doing now. So I think that was the biggest mistake that people are doing. They wasted all this time just bitching and complaining and not doing anything about it or learning anything else moving forward.
Gotcha. I think that went pretty well. I like the Clubhouse questions.
Frank's Clubhouse Corner for the win.
Hey.
Tune in next week.
Awesome.
I love that. So real quickly, before we get to pod decks and wrap things up tonight, if the audience has any questions for Eric, now is a great time for you guys to drop your questions, and we'll ask those of Eric. I'm gonna switch this over for a second. Somebody sent me this photo, Eric. I'm trying to zoom in.
Mr. Raymore. That's awesome.
Look at that, man. That's so cool.
Absolutely.
I love that. That was when we were in Chicago, right?
Yeah, marquee show.
Yeah, absolutely. I got one more I'll share with you real quick here while we check to see. Look at that. Oh, come on, there it is.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That was a great night.
Right? Memories for sure.
That was a great night, man.
And then somebody's obviously calling me. So let's see. Eric just freaking dropped hard that.
Eric just mic dropped so hard that China fell.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. you read Big Earn very well. I don't always read Big Earn as well as I should. So you are prolific in Big Earn.
It's an extra beer. That's what happens.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right. So once again, if you guys have any questions for Eric in reference to branding that can help you directly and specifically with your company, then definitely ask those questions, please, and we'll get those answered for you. And before we go, Eric, don't let me forget, you have a little yeah, I love you too, man. I love you to death. You have a little special treat for everybody that's watching tonight, so don't let me forget to let everybody know about that before we go.
Cool.
All right, so if you have not seen Pod Decks before, Pod Decks is a fun little game we like to play at the end of our show. It is brought to you by, well, guess what? Pod Decks. If you're not familiar with Pod Decks, it is a great way to have literally thousands of conversation starters in your hands. Especially if you're a host of an event, or if you are a podcast host yourself, or if you're just going to be doing something where you need some way of just coming up with conversation starters, Pod Decks is amazing for that. And if you go to poddecks.com, sorry. If you go to WBG Poddecks, you'll find out more information there. Yeah, I forgot we had our own website now. I think it's WBG Poddecks. I don't know. We'll look it up. Anyways, you want to get started? So by the way, so here's how it works. Eric, we're going to ask you the question first, and then our other friends on stage with us tonight will ask you guys. There I go talking Clubhouse lingo. For those of you guys on the screen with us, we'll ask you the same thing, and then those of you in the audience, please feel free to chime in as well. Yeah, I'll turn it over to you. Here we go.
My first question for you is: if money wasn't a concern, where would you live? What would you do? And what would your lifestyle look like?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd be living on a beach somewhere very close to a golf course, and making sure that I have a nice boat, and that's about it.
Boat's essential. I like that.
Make sure golf is essential. Make sure there's a couple around there, though.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Luke or Frank? Any what's your thoughts?
I'll take this one. So my place is St. John, Virgin Islands. I love it there. It's peaceful. And yet I still can get away wherever I want. I still would want a DJ, to be honest with you. I mean, I would buy Canada. There's always something bigger and throws out there. I would still find myself in the mix, still out there doing that. But I mean, I think at that point I could pick and choose and do what I want to do. But I definitely I see myself just chilling out and travel. I mean, that's my thing.
All right, love it.
How funny is it when Big Earn says Canada, all of us immediately go to this. That's funny.
I would buy Canada.
That's a great story.
Yeah. For Rooster. Big Earn, what would you do with the land? That's what I want to know. What would you do if you bought all of Canada?
That's a good point. Like, what would you do with all that going on there, Big Earn? I'm curious as well.
It's a lot of bacon.
There you go.
And maple syrup.
All right. Next question. Here we go. If you were given $1,000 to spend on your closest friend, what would you buy them?
And I had to just spend it on them?
Yep. Make a lot of pancakes.
A leopard thong. I don't know.
There you go. $1,000 leopard thong. I love it.
In diamond crusted. I have no idea. Or a new set of golf clubs, probably.
That's funny. Frank, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know if I could spend $1,000 on my best friend. You know what? He cooks all the time, so I would probably use it as like, buy him some different like cooking utensils that he doesn't have or something. I mean, but that would just be more of an excuse to get him to make some food for like my drove of children that I have.
Wait, fancy big ass glitter bomb. That's what I would do. Yeah.
There you go.
A big ass glitter bomb.
Big Earn said, I would buy Canada again. I would buy Canada for $1,000 again.
There you go.
That's funny.
Luke, how about you? What are you buying?
Actually, my son has been on a kick, and he's seen homeless people outside, and he wants to give them money. So I would go in his honor and help some people out that need the help, and because he's been big on that. In fact, I'm doing something next week for actually on my birthday, April 1st. I'm going to go out there and do something. There's a homeless shelter that they're doing something, so I'm going to do something positive with the money. I'm going to help some people that need it.
And that's not
that's incredibly noble.
a joke, though.
Sorry?
I love it.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. April 1st, it's not a joke, though.
No, it's not a joke. And in fact, I found out today that Frank and I both have the same birthday.
No way.
Did you know that?
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, they were both.
Yeah.
They were
Even
both-
crazier, my wife's birthday is April 2nd.
That's nuts.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we can say both of these jokes were born on
Wow.
April 1st.
I'm okay
Yeah,
with it.
wow. We're gonna have to
And what? We
look
both
that
have 4 kids, right, Frank?
Yeah, 4 kids. Yep.
Oh my
up. That's
God.
wild.
Look at that.
What do you got?
Crazy. If you could choose any mode of transportation, no matter how ridiculous, what method would you use to get around town?
Ooh.
Tough question.
Just around town.
I think I'd pick a hoverboard.
Yeah, the hoverboard's
That would be
kinda
I'm
so
cool.
going to say a
awesome.
Segway.
Flying car.
Segway?
If I'm around town, yeah.
How about
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
a truck? I can just run over everybody.
There you go.
Like, not
Fair.
literally, but like, just get out of my way.
Like a monster truck, you said?
Yeah, like a big
That'd be cool.
That's awesome.
Bro, if it was a monster truck, what monster truck would it be though? Like I was always a Gravedigger fan, right?
All right. I mean, I was a fan of Bigfoot back in the day. So, I mean, we can go old school a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or an
I'm
elephant.
down with Bigfoot.
Yeah. Probably do something like that.
I haven't
Right, I
seen
feel-
monster. You know what? I haven't seen monster trucks in a while. And then this show on TBS called the Big Show came on, and there was a guy on there that did like this big trick with these monster trucks. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
You know what? It's like when I was a kid, I remembered I used to know all the monster truck names. Now it's like I only remember 3, right? Like
Yeah.
Gravedigger, Bigfoot, and the Carolina Crusher. Other than that, I don't remember all the other ones that would show up.
That's the other one. Absolutely. That's good. I like that.
Bigger and said Knight Rider.
Man, Kit was awesome.
They make those nowadays called Tesla. What the hell?
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, the Ecto 1. I like that.
There you
Nice.
go. There you go. Now you guys are getting creamy. I love it.
I want the DeLorean. I see that in there.
Yeah, definitely. That's good.
Too funny. Too funny. All right. I got one more, and then you close us out. One
Sounds
more. How about
great.
that? All right. What do you think one of the biggest cons about being famous would be?
That's easy.
Of one of
Yeah.
the cons,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you're actually good at whatever the hell you think that you're famous for.
Oh, I love that.
That's awesome.
That's what I say.
All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, paparazzi. Right? Like the whole just that they're going to watch every move you make, and as soon as you make one wrong move, like cancel culture comes in now and you're done.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
say all the friends that come out of the woodworks that say they're your friends.
Yeah. People you haven't talked to in years, and now all of a sudden, they know you.
All of a sudden, Eric calls me and say, "What's up, Luke?
Don't you remember me in Chicago?
What's up?
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember when I was giving out roast beef?
Oh, stop it.
Oh my
Let's go to your
All right,
question.
we're
Here we
moving
go.
on.
Last question. Keep it
Last
moving.
question here. What weird thing
Where
would
did
you
Eric
make?
go?
Good night, everyone.
Oh,
What weird thing would you make socially acceptable if you could? We're just gonna- yeah.
I think Luke just said it.
This is
Goodness,
where
everyone.
this is where we end up.
We're terrible.
Close the curtains.
we're now going to cancel roast beef now. That's what we're going to do. Wait, hold on. Bullshit button.
PDA.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Okay, we're out of control like
We're done.
usual. All right. Before we wrap things up real quick, Eric, I know you had a little kind of a little special you wanted to offer to anybody that is a follower of our show. Just want to let you share that real quick before we completely wrap the show up for the night.
No.
No, we're done.
It's called roastbeef.com. No, I'm just joking. So one of the other companies we have is called Videotter. VIDEOTTER. So it's like video and otter put together, just like that, right? So videotter.com, and we do unlimited video content creation for companies every single month. So just kind of like Design Pickle does unlimited graphic design services for companies, we do video content creation for social media advertising. So when you need content and you have no idea what the heck to do, that's what Videotter does. And so I'm going to offer 50% off the first month with all of you guys. So any plan, you can go from a starter, intermediary, a pro package. Your first month will be 50% off using the code WBG 2021. So WBG 2021 at checkout. It'll get you half off of that. So it's really simple and easy. You'll see some of our samples we've done for other companies, and it's just a lot easier. So let the pros do it rather than you. Easy enough.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Appreciate it.
Very good.
Roast beef.
All right. Well, this has been up until the last like 4 minutes of the show. This has been an amazing show as usual, and typically the last 4 or 5 minutes of the
Always
show pretty much all go downhill as well.
To be expected.
No, but seriously, Eric, thank you, man. We really appreciate you jumping on and helping kind of open a new lens for us to look through when it comes to branding ourselves. And I think some of the suggestions you offered were phenomenal suggestions. Yeah. And also talking about the ways to work them into, being able to actually, offer them at a way that you're not going to feel like you're putting yourself in the poorhouse.
For sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing your box. I mean, I think that was awesome.
Absolutely.
Because I thought it was actually a great idea. And again, like you said, the investment. I like the idea that you mentioned about the end. You give the people all the tools that they need to do a video. I mean, like I said, you would almost feel guilty not to put something up. So I think that was priceless.
Yeah,
definitely.
Love it. Well, thank you everybody for watching Wedding Business Growth. Just a reminder, everybody, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please be sure to do that. We appreciate your support in that regard.
Always.
Also, if you haven't connected with us on Instagram or any other social medias, we hope will consider doing that as well. Also, reach out to Eric and Luke and Frank directly to them. And much love to you, Big Earn, as well. And just want to let everybody know next week we have a guest coming on the show named Bobby Brinkman. It's somebody that myself and Luke and Eric have become very good friends with through Clubhouse. And she is a lifelong photographer and also motivation and inspirational coach. And so she's going to be coming on to talk to us about some, just ways to get our heads right for moving into what I think and what we all kind of think is going to be a very busy season going through the end of 2021 and moving into 2022. Yeah. So she'll be on the show with us next week. And if you are on Clubhouse, stop by and see us at the Clubhouse pre-show at 5:30 p.m. if you want to pop in there. And if not, then if you're not able to do that, then definitely please join us at 7 p.m. Eastern for our live show. And if you're not on Clubhouse, hit one of us up. We'll send you an invite.
We got invites.
Lord knows we all got probably tons of them right now.
Yep.
And we'll be happy to send you an invite so you can get a part of the Clubhouse clan. So without that being said, Eric, Luke, Frank, if you guys can stick around for a second after we go off live, we'll just catch up with you before we say goodbye. And for everybody else, have a good week.
Thanks,
be good,
everyone.
and we'll see you next time.